Hey, I'm Luke.
And I'm Becca. We are on staff here at Tarleton BSM. I'm actually a proud Tarleton alumni. I graduated in 2018. I started coming to the BSM as a freshman and got pretty plugged in. Decided after my freshman year of college that I wanted to go on missions. So I signed up and got appointed to spend the summer in Oregon, working with an apartment complex ministry. And it was a really, really good summer, but a really challenging summer. The Lord taught me a lot. That was kind of where I felt called to go into ministry and missions full time. But I also just had a really hard heart towards Oregon and the people that I was working with, and it was just a weird situation. So I came back telling the Lord, I will go anywhere on missions, do anything for you in missions and ministry, just not Oregon. But almost as soon as I stepped foot back in Texas, I felt the Lord asking me to go back to Oregon. And of course I ran. I ignored that for a long time. And then after the end of my sophomore year, the missions book came back out again, and I started reading through some of the positions that were available, but I covered up the place and the amount that they would cost, because I know those things kind of sway my decision. And so as I prayed through it, there was really only one trip that stood out. And it happened to be the exact same trip that I had done the summer before. They just changed the name and the description of the trip. And it was at that point where I was like, okay, Lord, I'll go back. I'll stop fighting you on this. And so I went back a second summer, working with the same apartment ministry, except this time it was really different because my heart was softened towards the people and the place. I was no longer seeing it through my own prideful, selfish eyes. I was seeing it through the Lord's eyes. And because of that, I fell in love with the people and the place. And it was at that point when I felt called to go to Oregon and do ministry there. So at that point, we were dating, and he was at a different university. But I came back home after that summer and started talking with him about my heart for the Northwest and the things that the Lord was calling me to there. And so we began to pray about that together.
Yeah, so I married into the Tarleton family. I went to a different school, but my life was also changed in college through college ministry. And so as we were talking about getting married and what we were going to do, we both felt like the Lord was leading us to do full-time ministry. We both really loved the campus ministry because of the way the Lord has impacted us through that. And so we were looking towards that, but we also had our sights set on Oregon or the Northwest. We weren't really sure what or how or when we would get there, but we felt like the Lord was leading us to prepare for that, so we trusted that He would make it happen whenever it was supposed to happen. And so we came on staff at Tarleton to explore what full-time ministry is like, as well as to get back to campus ministry that has had such a big impact on our lives. And so it wasn't long after we started that our boss kind of put a bug in our ear about a position that had opened up in Oregon State. So the Northwest, it's with the Northwest Collegiate Ministries, which is essentially the BSM of the Northwest. There's a position opened up there at Oregon State, and he asked us to pray about it. And so as I was, the Lord really burdened me, not really knowing the ministry climate of that campus, but I just knew that there was less ministry happening because there wasn't an NCM there that year. And so I just felt like we really needed to really consider this because of that burden. And so as we were considering, we got the chance to go up there and spend a week or a few days in November and just praying and seeking the Lord on campus and talking to some local pastors and other ministers there. And as we did, the Lord spoke to me through Mark chapter 8. So in Mark 8, Jesus feeds the 4,000, which is really similar to when he feeds the 5,000. But there's something that really stuck out to me was there's a moment where Jesus is teaching all these people, and it says that he has compassion on them. And so he turns to his disciples and says, hey, feed them. And the disciples are kind of like, what do we feed them with? We don't have anything. And Jesus says, well, what do you have? So in that moment, I feel like the Lord was really speaking to me, both in what we need to do and how we need to do it. Because those are kind of the questions we were asking. And that the Lord has had compassion on the people and the students at Oregon State, was asking us to feed them and feed them with what we have. And whenever we take the Lord for his word and we trust him and we step out in faith and obedience, he does miraculous things through us. And so through that, we feel like the Lord really wants to do something really incredible at Oregon State, which because there's incredible need at Oregon State.
So Oregon State is a campus of about 30,000, and as best they can tell, maybe 1,000 of those students would claim to be followers of Christ. But even that is a high estimate. It is a really beautiful campus. The students there are really smart. It's a STEM school, so science, engineering, technology, mathematics, those sorts of things is what students are really passionate about there. And so because of that, students are very academically focused. They spend a lot of time working on school and trying to get good grades and things like that, and don't spend a lot of time in community. And because of that, something that's just really common, not just at Oregon State, but at a lot of campuses in the Northwest, is anxiety and depression. And so one of the things that we hope to do while we're on campus is offer these students the hope and freedom that's found in a relationship with Christ. And we truly believe that the Lord is going to do something really cool at Oregon State. But something else that's really neat about the campus is that just 15 minutes away is Lynn Benton Community College, which is a student body of about 10,000, and it has little to no gospel presence at all. And so it is really close to Oregon State, and the possibilities of the Lord doing something really incredible there are also really great. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, and one of the pastors we spoke to at that trip in November, he talked to us about how the Northwest really hasn't had its time yet. There's, if we look through history, there's the Great Awakenings on the East Coast, and we have the Bible Belt in the South, but there's not really been a movement of God in the Northwest yet. And so he said a lot of ministry that's going on there now is more pioneering than harvesting. There's a lot of digging out roots and moving boulders in order to plow the field, to plant the seeds, to reap the harvest. And so that's kind of the mindset we're going into. We're really hopeful that we will see lots of fruit, but we're expecting to work really hard. And when the Bible talks about the kingdom of God, it speaks in terms of all and every. And so we really believe that the kingdom is longing to be at Oregon State, and that all and every student at Oregon State be a part of it. And so we're hoping, and we're working, and our mission is to get all and every student at Oregon State in contact with the kingdom, that they would have a chance to respond to the gospel.